Hey guys, so I got a new game here. Can you see what it is? Can you see what it is? Haven't even opened it yet. Nintendo Switch, Chronicles of the Wolf. And I'm sure I've talked about this in the channel on some of my video game videos, which I don't have a whole lot of. It's been a pretty major part of my life, especially role-playing games. But Castlevania, Metroidvanias, have been really pretty big, since the Nintendo NES 8-bit days when I played Castlevania 1, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, 3, Dracula's Curse or something like that. And I've played various versions of, the Super Nintendo version, Castlevania 4, the Dracula X on Super Nintendo, and Rondo of Blood on TurboGrafx or PC Engine. And I really love the DS titles as well. So I'm pretty excited to play this, but I'm not going to open it up right now. I really don't have time. I have so many other projects, but I do want to talk about this guy here. When I got this guy, I made a little video, Ys Memoire Oath of Felghana. And this is like a remake of Ys 3 that was released, like Wonders of Ys on the Sega Genesis and the TurboGrafx, possibly some other Japanese systems. And it might have been remade before, but this is a complete, from ground up remake, and completely different gameplay and everything. You can look at videos on YouTube. I don't have the equipment to go hook HDMI up to video capture, and have the money or time to set up a big budget, high production studio. There's just so many other channels that have gameplay reviews and stuff like that, but I'll talk about this briefly. Now, I started out with Ys Book 1 and 2 on the TurboGrafx 16 CD system. In my opinion, that would have been worth the price of admission. There are sort of some stinkers on the system, but there are a lot of cool games as well. So don't discount, or dismiss the TurboGrafx PC Engine CD system, because it didn't sell well in North America. There's still quite a few good gems, North American and Japanese, on the system, including Rondo of Blood. But, I never really got into Ys 3, and I played it briefly on, I don't know if I played it on the TurboGrafx, probably the Sega Genesis version. Kind of fast-paced. They changed the way you move, they changed the way you jump and you attack and all that stuff. And I wouldn't even say I was a fan of that bump and attack method of Ys Book 1 and 2. Kind of like highlight if you ever played it on the Nintendo. And there were probably a few games in the 8, 16-bit and probably the 32-bit era that used that bump attack. But, I got Ys Memories of Celceta, I can't remember. I got Lacrimosa of Donna. I got Ys Origin, which I think this was remade from the PSP or something, so I don't think the aspect ratio or graphics or something were quite up to par, but it's still a really cool game. And I've got Monstrum Nox. So, I don't have all the games, but definitely showed you that I'm a fan. And these are pretty much all different from that Ys Book 1 and 2 bump attack. So you got your enemy here and your main character here, and you like pup, and they're either hitting you, taking all your hit points out, or you're hitting them and taking their hit points out. So very strange if you haven't ever played a game like that. And that was one of the early action RPGs. Now, I told myself I wasn't going to buy any more games unless I beat this guy here, or at least gave it my best effort. Because so many times I buy a game and I play it for a few hours, and I'm already on to the next game, and because I have so little time, I really can't go through all of them. I got a backlog of so many, so I want to try to get through it while it's fresh in my mind. However, I got to the last boss here, and I sort of realized that I was missing several key items, and I messed up one or two of the quests where there were some other key items. I didn't find all of the secret things, and at least one, I think both of the quests, when you get too far, you cannot go back and complete them. As I was saying, when you get too far in the game, you cannot go back and complete these quests. One of them was a missing child or something, I believe, and it sucks because he has there's a pretty good reward there on that quest, I believe. And here's the thing, I got to the last boss, and he hit me like 2 or 3 times and I was dead. So I said, there's no way without me having to level grind and go back and try to find all of the power-up items and stuff like that. And in the best case scenario, I still wouldn't have those 2 quest items. And I've read that you don't have to have them, it just makes it easier. But let me tell you about the difficulty settings on this game. So when you pick normal difficulty in this game, it's like hard difficulty on other games. So easy is probably most likely normal, but I don't think you can change the difficulty level after you start a game without starting all over. The monsters on this game, the enemies, the bosses, they can be pretty difficult too. And only one time did I have to use a guide to see how to fight one of the latter bosses. And I can't remember exactly who it was, but after you take their hit points down, they explode or something. And even when you got that boss dead, he can kill you before you move on with this explosion. And I had to look it up. I said, how are people doing this? Because he takes a massive amount of hit points off of you, like one hit and you're dead. So there is an attack item, a ring, I believe, that makes you kind of do this dash thing, this kind of reverse dash away from the bomb. You can't run from it, this explosion, but you do that dash once or twice at the right time, and you avoid getting hit, and you move on. Now, the good is that if you can't defeat a boss, you get killed a few times, you continue right there at the boss match, and it'll ask you if you want to fight him on an easier difficulty level. And you can only do that 2-3 times, I can't remember. So once that difficulty level is all the way to the lowest point, it won't just get easier and easier. You're going to have to either kill that boss or load up your last save state or whatever and try to level up or get better items. Overall, I would say this is a fun and frustrating game sometimes, and you might want to start, if you don't read a guide or something, you might want to start on the easiest difficulty, and if you can't do it on easy, maybe read the guides, make sure you're leveled up enough. I mean, it can be boring to level up, because after so many levels at a certain area, it takes a lot of grinding and all to get to that point, where you actually can feel like you're getting stronger or have enough money to buy whatever stronger weapons or armor. And it's limited what you can buy. There's not a whole lot of weapons and armor and stuff there that is available in the game. There's only a few set. Now you can get items that will help upgrade your weapons and armor. I think you can do it 2 or 3 times or something per item or per weapon. And if you don't find all of them in the game, you might say, uh-oh, I wish I would have had enough stuff to do my quest, to do my upgrade of my items, my weapons and armor. And Again, I think I would recommend probably trying this out on easy level. See if you can figure it out on your own, and if not, check the strategy guides. There's probably just a few things that might give you problems. I was stuck once or twice. I'm like, what the heck do I do? But every time I just missed an area. There was a door or something that I just hadn't gone through yet. Just, keep searching those mansions, castles, whatever, dungeons, caves, and you'll eventually find where you need to go. Even though, I sort of gave up, on the final boss, I felt like I did enough to earn, myself a new game. And I'm sort of strongly considering just restarting this game, knowing what I know now, versus trying to just grind a little bit more and trying to find a few of those, items that I missed. That way I could really get those other 2 quests done, and hopefully you will do a lot better at getting through the final boss, because if he can kill you in 2 or 3 hits, even if you go down a couple levels, difficulty levels, by getting killed 6 or 9 times, I didn't see an easy way to defeat him. Maybe I should check YouTube and see how other people defeat the boss. Is there something that I missed? And yeah, most likely I'm considering just restarting the game versus trying to fix my mistakes in the current game. And when I said I was going to kind of give you my impressions and stuff of this game, I really didn't know if I was going to, because I kind of said that, I think, when I did the Atrian Odyssey Origins. Did I give you much impressions of the game? It's a dungeon crawler, or 3 of them, a trilogy that's in 1, but it's been a while since I played it now, and I don't know if I'll ever play it all the way through. If I play through one of the games, I may not play through the other 2. It's good, it's worth having, I would say, but yeah, I didn't know if I was going to follow through, but I guess I did. I kind of felt like I needed to, to explain, possibly why I haven't bought a lot of games. There's, the Dragon Quest HD remakes, part 1 and 2, I think recently came out. I think it's about $60. I think it's on the PS5, Switch, and Xbox One. I didn't get so far the Lunar HD Remastered Collection, which, Lunar Silver Star, Lunar Eternal Blue, some of my favorite games for sure. And I've seen Dragon Quest HD Remake Prime Day sells for like $34, $35. It was tempting, but I know that they're probably going to come down in price, and maybe Black Friday next year or the year after, we'll probably be able to get them for like $19 or something. So, I initially wanted those guys, and I love playing Dragon Warrior on the Nintendo. I love Dragon Warrior 2. I sort of started playing Dragon Warrior 3, but never really played through it. So that would be a really good one to get in the future and just see if I can go through it. I have Dragon Warrior 3 on Nintendo. I bought like a year or 2 back. It's the second time I've owned it, and haven't really played it much, but it was like one of the items that I felt like I should have played through back in the day when it was released. And there she is. A year or 2 ago or whatever, I started trying to recollect some of the games that I really wanted, including the one Dragon Warrior 2. It took a while for me to get one, I think, at a decent price. And of course the original Dragon Warrior game, which kind of started my RPG love for RPGs, even though I was playing RPGs before I knew what RPGs were. I really wanted to get Dragon Warrior 4 for the Nintendo, but it just goes for like over $100 now, and I just could not justify the expense. So maybe they'll make a Dragon Warrior 4 HD remake. Well, that's about it. I think, if you like this sort of game, the Ys games, action RPGs, maybe you played Wonders of Ys back in the day on the Turbo Graphics or the Sega Genesis, and you want to see a modern day remake of it, I should say, then if you can get it for a good price, try it out. If not, maybe you can find a used game store that'll let you kind of check it out. And you also have YouTube, obviously, and I can't wait to try Chronicles of the Wolf, being such a huge 2D Castlevania fan. I highly doubt, based on looking at YouTube videos and screenshots and all, that it's going to be as good as Symphony of the Night or something, or Dracula X on the Sega Saturn. But it looks like it's at least piquing my interest. You never know. You can see videos on YouTube and you don't know how they feel in your hand, how the controls are, and everything else when you're watching a video or listen to someone else talk about them. So till you got those controllers on your thumbs and your fingers, and you just don't know. There's a lot of games that have tricked me based on seeing screenshots, reading reviews or information about them, and even seeing video, and I'm like, this, it looked great, but the feel of the game once I had that controller in my hand just wasn't that great. But let's hope for the best with this guy. Okay guys, take care.